Part 40. Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuanchi. Chapter 392. It seems that Yejiju's fighting skills are endless. In addition to those widely popular fighting skills, there are also many fighting skills that Luo Feng has never seen before. In fact, Yejiju did not explode with all his strength. After all, Wu Tong was not his enemy. He only needed to defeat Wu Tong. The battle only lasted a few minutes, and Wu Tong was knocked back several steps by Yejiju's punch. Rubbing his left shoulder, which was painful after being hit by Yejiju, Wu Tong laughed and said, "Ha ha! Not bad, Xiao. I didn't expect that your strength would rise to such an extent in such a short period of time. You will definitely become a god of war powerhouse in the future. I can't even hope to catch up." Searched Can on Google. After a pause, Wu Tong turned around and sighed with a little loss. "Hey! Your strength has improved so quickly. I have nothing left to teach you here." After finishing speaking, there was another pause before Wu Tong continued to ask, "What are your plans for the future?" Seeing that Wu Tong finally got to the point, Yejiju said, "Of course I hope to go to a more advanced place to practice and improve my strength." Hearing this, Wu Tong turned around and looked at Yejiju in surprise, nodded and said, "Indeed, it would be a pity not to improve your strength in a more advanced place." After saying that, Wu Tong did not make a promise to the two of them. Instead, after sending them away, he picked up the phone and made a call. Wingdings, diamond suit, diamond suit, diamond suit, diamond suit, diamond suit. When the call was connected, Wu Tong said, "I have personally tested that Luo Feng's strength has reached the junior general level, and Yejiju. I am no longer his opponent. Yes, their qualifications and understanding make them absolutely excellent candidates. It would be a waste if they don't participate in the training camp." "Well, good. Then it's all up to the inspection to keep you busy." "Yeah, I understand, I won't remind them." After the two walked out of the martial arts hall, Luo Feng asked doubtfully, "Brother Ye, what's going on?" "Uncle Wu. Did you agree?" "No. He can't make the decision, and he's not even qualified to recommend it." "But he can put us in touch with qualified people." After Yejiju answered, he reminded him, "Let's rest for a few days during this period. You also look for opportunities to deal with the armored dragon eggs. We are looking for opportunities to visit the Alliance and pick up some tasks by the way." "Yeah. Okay." Luo Feng nodded heavily and agreed, and then the two returned to the warrior community. Rightward arrow. A few days passed by in a flash. During this period, Luo Feng, under Yejiju's prompting, disposed of the dragon egg for 6 billion. The two of them got 3 billion each. Including the income from the materials, the two people's assets each has about 4 billion. In the past few days, there has been an uproar about the bounty offered by the Bolanaz family. Many warrior teams and even the Grey forces in the base have joined in, hoping to find the murderer of Li Wei and get the one. A bounty of hundreds of billions. Pity. Yejiju and the two were so well hidden that no one immediately regarded two people with only the strength of warriors as murderers who could kill a god of war and 4 high-level warriors. But there is always something unreasonable about things, right? It lasted for several days, and there was no. After getting some information about the murderer of their son, Li Yao and Wenina still turned their anger on all the warriors who entered City 003 that day. Of course, as a warrior like Yejiju, who was not very strong, he was the first to enter the revenge list of the two. At this time, another thing happened that all the major families had to pay attention to. That is, the elite training camp has begun to recruit new students again. For this matter, all major families used their own methods to let their own family disciples enter. For this reason, Director Zhuge and Counselor Zhu, who were initially optimistic about Yejiju and Luo Feng, withstood the pressure from all parties and snatched 2 quotas from several big families. Just when Li Yao and his wife asked their cronies to find someone to eliminate the warriors on the list one by one, Yejuju and Luo Feng unexpectedly received a rescue mission. When he saw that the one to be rescued on the mission list was the Baihe team, Yejuju not only lamented the magic of fate, but also did not expect that without the Fire Hammer team, he and Luo Feng would still receive this mission that would affect Luo Feng's future life. Yes, it is related to Luo Feng's lifelong mission. You know, if Luo Feng had not received this mission, his amazing performance against the Lord-level monster giant Rock Black Bear alone on the way to rescue people proved his potential. Instructor Yang Hui, who came to examine Luo Feng, saw that he would not have been so easy. He agreed to take Luo Feng into the elite training camp. Because at that time, several big families had spent countless energy and connections competing for the spots in the elite training camp. If Yang Hui had not resisted the pressure and forcefully gave the spot to Luo Feng would not have entered the training camp. And if Luo Feng didn't enter the training camp, he might be killed in the wild by someone arranged by Li Yao and his wife. Even if Luo Feng was not dead, if Li Yao and his wife took action against his family, he would not be able to guarantee the safety of his family without the help of the extreme martial arts school. Herfat I Dotsida. In short, entering elite training is an important opportunity for Luo Feng to become the strongest in the future. When the two accepted the mission and arrived at the rescue site, they happened to see the warriors of the rescue target Baihe team, surrounded by a large group of monsters. The situation of several people was not very good. Although the team members were still safe, several of them were seriously injured and had to be supported by their companions to barely escape. Seeing this, Yejuju and Luo Feng did not hesitate and ran towards the herd at high speed. Just when the monster was about to attack the Baihe team and the Baihe team was about to fight to the death, chaos suddenly occurred behind the monster. It was Yejuju and Luo Feng who had already killed their way into the monster's back. Facing the beast general level monster, the two were like entering a beastless land. They killed their way into the monster group like a crushing force, and quickly killed the Baihe team trapped in the middle. Luo Feng was okay, although he looked very powerful. He swung a sword in his hand left and right, chopping or killing the monsters that blocked his way. At least it was within the acceptable range. Yejuju was different. He was too lazy to use his sword and just rushed into the monster group with his fists and feet. The most speechless thing was that Yejuju not only used his fists and feet as weapons to beat the monsters, but also used the monsters' bodies as weapons. He either lifted one of the monsters and used the monsters' huge bodies as hammers, swinging them in front of him to smash the monsters that rushed up, or threw the monsters' bodies into the monster group as throwing weapons, smashing the monsters to the ground. The degree of violence was so great that even Luo Feng couldn't help but smack his mouth secretly. Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuanqi. Chapter 393. When the two rushed into the monster group and saw that the newcomers were Yejuju and Luo Feng, the warriors of the Baihe team breathed a sigh of relief, and at the same time, they had to sigh at the two's strength, and the speed of improvement was so fast. Thinking back to the time when they first met the two, they were just warriors. How long has it been? They are already warriors at the level of generals. This talent really makes several people envious. After the two rushed in, Yejuju shouted loudly. Luo Feng, you take the Baihe team and lead the way in front. I will stay behind to cover the rear. Move. Okay, brother Yet. Without any extra nonsense, Luo Feng immediately stepped forward and asked the Baihe team if they could still move. Although some of them were injured and needed help, they could still move. They all nodded to indicate that it was no problem. Luo Feng didn't waste any words. He left a sentence of "follow me" and turned to lead the way in front, slashing the monsters that surrounded them again during this gap, and cleared the way for several people. Yejuju stayed behind to cover the rear and continued to violently kill the monsters that wanted to chase them. The passage was soon opened, and when they were running away, a loud roar came from behind, followed by the sound of huge footsteps. They looked back in surprise and saw a mountain-like figure appearing behind the large group of monsters. The distance was still far, but they couldn't help but exclaimed in unison. "Ah! It's a primary Lord-level monster, the giant rock black bear." After shouting, Yejuju rushed towards the giant rock black bear, dragging a giant knife about 10 meters long in his hand, and killed the oncoming giant rock black bear. Along the way, Yejuju didn't see how much strength he used, and he killed the beast general level monster in front of him. The strange thing is that all the monsters killed by Yejuju were frozen into ice. Luo Feng was shocked when he saw this, and he couldn't help but worry that Yejuju's actions would make Li Yao notice the two and retaliate against them. But what he didn't know was that Yejuju did this on purpose. He already felt that his strength seemed to have reached a point where it couldn't be improved anymore. This didn't mean that Yejuju's combat power couldn't continue to improve, but he felt that if he continued to improve step by step like this, it seemed that his ice power would be a bit of a waste. But he didn't know how to develop his ice power, and he needed a guide to guide him. Think about it, Hong's personal guard Bing Shan, that kind of ability to control ice at will, he envied it. But it's not so easy to ask Bing Shan for advice, but what if he showed something different? For example, if he froze the monster like he is now, would it attract Hong's attention and let Bing Shan communicate with him? Yejuju is a person who does what he thinks. As for whether it will attract the attention of the Bolanaz family, will Yejuju care? Not to mention that he was not afraid of Li Yao and his wife. Even if they wanted to do something, they would not dare to attack Yejuju during the elite training. Anyway, maybe after today, he and Luo Feng will enter the elite training camp. In fact, his guess was right. At this time, Yang Hui had already arrived at the Jiangnan base and was rushing here with Wu Tong, Zhuzh, and others. If nothing unexpected happened, Yang Hui would see the scene of Yejuju and Luo Feng fighting against the Lord Monster with his own eyes, which just proved that the two were good seedlings qualified to participate in the training. Yejuju rushed to the giant rock black bear, and naturally the remaining monsters chased Luo Feng and others in front. Luo Feng stood in front of several people with a sword without hesitation, and asked them to go first, not to stay and drag himself down. The few people in the Baihe team knew that they could not help Yejuju and the others if they stayed, and they did not hesitate to take their injured companions and fled in the direction where there were no monsters. The battlefield was divided into two sides. On one side, Yejuju fought against the giant rock black bear alone, and on the other side, Luo Feng fought against dozens of beast general level monsters alone. When Yang Hui and others came to the sky above the battlefield, they saw such a scene. Looking at Yejuju fighting against the Lord level monster giant rock black bear alone on the ground, he seemed to be at ease, and even brought frost with every sword. There was also Luo Feng fighting against a group of beast general level monsters, fast as lightning and perfect body skills. Although Yang Hui didn't say anything, the gleam in his eyes showed his satisfaction with the two at this time. Yejuju had already known the arrival of several people through the surveillance of Red Queen, so there was no need to hold back at this time. Ahurfat I. Tsitsiashutka. The 4th level 9-layer ice blade was fully deployed, with a burst of power 3 times. Yejuju showed his perfect body skills to the fullest, making the giant rock black bear run around but not hurting Yejuju at all, and his body was constantly covered with ice wounds. If it weren't for this guy's lord-level strength and extra thick skin and flesh, he might have been frozen into an ice cube by the ice blade's own ice power. The beast general level monsters that besieged Luo Feng were even more vulnerable, and most of them were killed by Luo Feng alone. The remaining monsters would not be Luo Feng's opponents, and it would only take time to kill them. Satisfied? Yang Hui was very satisfied with the performance of the two. Although their current strength was not as good as the students who had entered the training camp for several years or even a year, they were far better than the students who were about to enter the training camp. Especially the fact that the two were only 16 years old and had only been formal warriors for half a year, Yang Hui was extremely satisfied. At such an age, without the support of family resources, they could reach their current strength, which showed how amazing their potential and talent were. At this moment, Yang Hui had decided that no matter what, he would recruit both of them into the elite training camp. Otherwise, how could he be worthy of the duties of an instructor in the elite training camp? At this moment, Luo Feng had killed the remaining high-level beast soldiers and joined Yejiju's battle group with his sword. Yejiju's 9-layer ice knife opened and closed, dodging the attack of the giant rock black bear with perfect body skills, and his knife skills left wounds on the giant rock black bear more and more quickly. Luo Feng was naturally unwilling to be outdone, and also left wounds on the giant rock black bear with perfect body skills. The two cooperated tacitly, and they chopped the giant rock black bear with wounds all over his body, bleeding profusely. At this time, the giant rock black bear also became anxious and stopped attacking with its paws. It opened its mouth and purple light gathered in its mouth. The next second, it lowered its head and sprayed a purple energy beam at the two people. The two people quickly separated, one on the left and one on the right, and went around behind the giant rock black bear and attacked it. Unable to hit the two people, the giant rock black bear panicked and turned around to slap them twice, but they were still dodged by the two people. Yejiju and Luo Feng attacked together, one attacking the giant rock black bear's head and the other attacking its lower body. Ayo! The giant rock black bear let out a shrill howl, and its huge body could no longer stand, and fell to the ground with a bang. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuanqi. Chapter 394. The death of the giant black bear made Yang Hui admire the two of them. At this time, he also stepped on the flying skateboard from the fighter plane and landed on the ground. Looking at the few people falling from the sky, Luo Feng shouted in surprise. Uncle Wu, Director Zhuzh, why are you here? Yejiju nodded to Wu Tong and Director Zhuzh, but looked at Yang Hui. Director Zhuzh introduced him immediately. Xiao, Luo Feng, this is Yang Hui, the instructor from the Global Elite Training Camp. He is here specially for you. Why don't you come and see Instructor Yang? Hearing this, the two of them immediately stepped forward excitedly to greet Yang Hui. Of course, Luo Feng was sincere, but Yejiju was just pretending. As Yejiju expected, Yang Hui solemnly said. Yejiju and Luo Feng, you are both very good, and you are qualified to accept the entrance examination for the elite training camp. Once you pass the assessment, you can join our elite training camp and become God of War preparers. After finishing speaking, Yang Hui continued after a pause. Okay, I've already seen the person. You go back and pack your luggage first. Then go to the training camp with me tomorrow. After that, without any nonsense, he stepped on the flying skateboard and boarded the fighter plane. Watching Yang Hui leave, Wu Tong stepped forward and said to the two of them. Instructor Yang is right, it's really not that easy to stay there. It's not easy to be a member of it, so come on. As long as you pass the assessment, you will be the future God of War. You have to work hard and don't embarrass our Jiangnan base. Hearing this, Luo Feng asked in surprise. Ah, do you still need to take the assessment? Yejiju had known the situation in the elite training camp for a long time. Hearing this, he nodded and said. Don't worry, Uncle Wu and Director Zhuzh, we understand. You will pass the training camp assessment. Okay, as long as you know, don't say anything anymore. You go back and hand in the mission first, pack your bags and say goodbye to your family. After saying that, Wu Tong and Director Zhuzh also boarded the fighter plane. After leaving a few people to watch them go, The people from the Baihe team immediately gathered around and congratulated the two enviously. After returning to the Jiangnan base and handing in the mission, the two of them went home to pack their luggage. Yejuju didn't have much to pack, it was just his own equipment and a few clothes. Luo Feng had a lot to do. He had to say goodbye to Su Xian and pack his luggage. He was very busy. In the afternoon, seeing off Luo Feng's parents, the two followed Yang Hui onto the fighter jet. Not surprisingly, Luo Feng was very interested in Yang Hui's smart fighter jet. Yejuju, however, looked down upon Yang Hui's S-level fighter. What he wanted was at least a king-level fighter. That was what he wanted. Arriving at the training camp, when Yejuju stepped onto the training campground, the system sound suddenly sounded. Congratulations to the host for completing the hidden mission. Join the elite training camp and be rewarded with 5,000 experience points. Diamond suit, diamond suit, diamond suit, diamond suit. Subsequent hidden tasks are triggered. Within half a year, become the first in the elite training camp and receive 50,000 experience points and a special reward. Special reward. Yejuju murmured in his heart, feeling very happy. To be honest, Yejuju did not expect the task released by the system at all, but he did not expect that it would trigger a special reward. Listening to Yang Hui introducing the student standings hanging outside the training camp gate to the two, Yejuju secretly decided in his heart. Student rankings. Just wait, I will be at the top of the list in a few months. Standing outside the training camp gate, the two of them couldn't help but look up at the giant sculpture dragon coiled on top of the gate. As expected, Luo Feng. I was shocked by the eyes of the forgotten monster. Even Yejuju, like Luo Feng, seemed to see a huge dragon and that huge eyeball. However, Yejuju had a system, and he was only shocked for a moment before he woke up, and he couldn't help but have a terrifying understanding of the strength of the king-level monster. It's scary to think about it. This is just an eyeball. It has been dead for many years and it still has such power. You can imagine how terrifying the king-level monster is. So you can imagine how powerful Hong is, who can kill king-level monsters. As Luo Feng woke up, Yang Hui led the two of them into the training camp gate, introduced the training camp to the two of them, and came to the student testing hall. As always, Luo Feng entered the test machine first and conducted the camp test. What is different from the drama is that Luo Feng, with Yejuju's advice, developed perfect body skills and successfully passed the test against 100 bulls. Then Yejuju entered the test machine. Yejuju felt it after entering the test machine. His strength was reduced by the machine to that of a junior warrior. He could still use the 9th level Ice Blade, but he could not use his ultimate move or freezing ball. So, you can only rely on your own perfect movement and combat skills. Rumble, the sound of dense monster charging sounded, and the dense bulls rushed toward Yejuju overwhelmingly. Yejuju held the sword in one hand and leaned forward slightly, ready to fight. In the hall, Instructor Yang, Luo Feng, and others looked at Yejuju on the screen carefully, waiting for Yejuju to start fighting. As they got closer, Maniu's forward had already rushed 10 meters away from Yejuju. At this moment, Yejuju moved and rushed towards the barbarian cattle group with his sword in hand. The 10-meter distance was just a blink of an eye. Yejuju had already rushed in front of the barbarian bull. He raised his hand and chopped off the head of the barbarian bull with a knife. His feet did not stop, brushing the body of the barbarian bull, and slashed with a knife, cutting the carotid artery of another barbarian bull. The body did not stop, and the perfect level of body skills were fully displayed. He used all the surrounding environment and dodged the barbarian bull's attack with the smallest amplitude. With the help of their bodies, he moved among the barbarian bulls and harvested the lives of the barbarian bulls with a knife. Beautiful. A training camp staff member next to Instructor Yang was amazed by Yejuju's clean and neat battle and couldn't help but praise him out loud. Yang Hui glared at him with dissatisfaction, and turned to look at Yejuju's battle on the screen. However, the irrepressible admiration in his eyes could be seen by anyone. The barbarian bulls were killed one by Yejuju. As the test time was more than half, the number of barbarian bulls was less than 20. Yejuju was full of energy and didn't feel tired at all. This was thanks to the skills of the advanced combat master given by the system, which allowed Yejuju to kill the target at the lowest cost. This was a combat skill different from this world, which made everyone present feel like they were watching a combat master fight. I. Herfatshura martial god. Even Luo Feng was shocked and amazed when he saw Yejuju fighting with the enemy more than once. A few minutes later, the battle ended, and Yejuju stood there calmly. As the electronic sound announced the end of the test, Yejuju took off his helmet and stood up from his mount. Walking out of the hall, Yang Hui said to Yejuju and the others with satisfaction, "Congratulations, you have passed the camp entrance assessment and officially become a member of the training camp. I hope you will work hard to break through yourself during the training time and become a god of war as soon as possible." Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuanqi. Chapter 395. Thank you, Instructor Yang, we will not let you down. Yejuju and Luo Feng replied in unison, and then led by Instructor Yang, they went to their residence, Jiangnan Pavilion. As soon as he entered Jiangnan Pavilion, he saw Shizhang standing on the grass with a dragonfly on one hand and his expression was extremely focused. Instructor Yang introduced the two of them. "This is your roommate in Jiangnan Pavilion. His name is Shizhang. He is already a junior god of war. I. Her fought the romance of Fairywood. Hearing this, Yejuju was not surprised because he had known Shizhang for a long time. Luo Feng asked in surprise, "God of war? Why are you still in the camp?" He. Junior god of war. It is just a stop on the road to becoming a strong man. Only by becoming a being that surpasses the god of war can one be called a true strong man. To know. There is not only one god of war here, but also many students who have been in the camp for several years and have long since become god of war. None of them want to leave the training camp prematurely. They all want to use the resources of the training camp to improve their strength as much as possible before graduation, so they can leave here. Are training camp resources hard to come by? Why don't they want to leave here? Haha. You will know this after you officially receive training. While they were talking, the three of them had already entered the Jiangnan Pavilion. Shizhang turned around and looked at the three of them. Seeing that it was Instructor Yang coming with two young men, he immediately stepped forward and said with joy on his face, "Hello, Instructor Yang." After saying that, Shizhang looked at Yejuju and asked happily, "These two are the new students at our Jiangnan base, Yejuju and Luo Feng, right? So excited to have you guys in camp too. My name is Shizhang, I also come to Jiangnan base, and I am your senior. Hello, senior. Please take good care of me in the future." Seeing Shizhang's close attitude, Yejuju and Luo Feng immediately felt very fond of Shizhang and greeted Shizhang politely. Seeing that Shizhang had taken the initiative to receive the two of them, Yang Hui did not intend to enter Jiangnan Pavilion, so he said to Shizhang, "Well, they are all your juniors and fellow villagers from your Jiangnan base, so I won't take them in, and you will be responsible for arranging them." After speaking, Yang Hui turned around and walked out. The three of them said to Yang Hui at the same time, "Instructor Yang, walk slowly." Yang Hui waved his hand and left quickly without looking back. When Yang Hui walked away, Shizhang said to the two of them, "Let's go. I'll take you in and meet your other roommate by the way." After saying that, Shizhang led the two of them into the villa. As soon as he entered the villa, he heard the sound of fists hitting sandbags. The voice was very dense and coherent, and it sounded like a master who was good at melee combat and was training. Shizhang walked towards the bar in the living room and shouted, "Okay, Zhaoruo, Stop practicing. Our junior fellow student, and roommate is here, come out and meet us. Peng, after a heavy blow came from the training room, a clear and cheerful female voice said. I know, come out right now. As soon as the voice fell, a slender figure rushed out of the training room. Before the three of them could see the person's appearance, the person rushed straight towards Yejuju and Luo Feng. 3 meters away from Yejuju and the two of them, the figure jumped high into the air and kicked fiercely towards Yejuju's chest. Faced with the attack, Yejuju Hao did not panic. He saw the landing point of his leg, moved his body slightly sideways, and avoided the attack. He also took advantage of the situation and gently touched the incoming man's calf. Pointed his finger. This finger did not use any force, but the meaning was expressed clearly. I would have fought back, if it were a duel. You have already lost. After the person landed, he turned around and did not continue to attack. Instead, he looked at the two of them with his hands on his hips and said to Yejuju. Not bad, Junior. He was able to dodge his senior sister's kick and was able to spot the right moment to fight back. It was amazing. May I have your name? At this moment, Shi Zhang had already walked over with a tray and said. Okay, Zhaoruo. Just stop making trouble and don't scare our juniors. After saying that, Shi Zhang had already walked to the sofa, put the tray on the coffee table, put the Sprite with ice on the coffee table, and continued. Xiao, don't you mind if I call you this? And Luo Feng, don't mind, her name is Zhaoruo, she also lives in Jiangnan Pavilion, and she is also our fellow villager. Don't be fooled by her appearance. She also has the strength of a high-level warrior. Hearing this, Zhaoruo turned over from the back of the sofa, picked up the cup without ceremony and took a big sip. The sight of those long legs dazzled Yejuju. I have to say that Zhaoruo's appearance is very attractive and does not belong to Luo Feng's first love Su Xian at all. In Yejuju's opinion, it fits his view of women. Wearing a clean tight waistcoat and leather pants, her face is very small, her eyebrows are delicate, and her high ponytail hairstyle makes her look very straightforward and her personality is very lovable. But it's a pity that Zhao Ru obviously likes Shi Zhang, otherwise Yejuju wouldn't mind having something happen with Zhaoruo. After everyone sat down, Shi Zhang took a sip from the cup and said to Zhaoruo. It would be better for you to introduce the situation of the training camp to our two juniors. Good. Zhao Jian agreed, took out a tablet from behind, opened it, showed it to the two of them, and said with a The training camp will have a ranking of students every month. The higher the ranking, the more resources you can get. Junior students, if you want to perform well in the training camp, it depends on your strength. Secondly, for new students entering the camp, the training camp will arrange teachers with similar fighting styles to teach you. These are all followed, and most importantly, the gravity room in the training camp. Put it this way. The gravity room is important to all students, even war students. It plays an extremely important role in improving the physical fitness, martial arts, and even body skills of warriors. Because of the insufficient gravity chamber. How long you can practice in the gravity room depends on your ranking in the training camp. Hearing this, Yejuju did not interrupt, but Luo Feng asked eagerly. Senior, then. What is the ranking based on? Haha. The training camp is the time to earn points from the 1st to the 29th of every month. The points will be settled on the 29th to determine the ranking. The calculation method of points is the contribution points obtained from hunting monsters in the wild, plus the combat power amplitude obtained by multiplying the fist power level by the trial tower level, will determine the specific ranking. In this case, the strength of the punch and the number of floors passed in the trial tower are both important. So, can I ask, which level of the trial tower can the most powerful student in the training camp reach? Before Shi Zhang and Zhaoruo could answer Luo Feng's question, Yejuju answered. None of this is important. From the words of senior sister and senior brother, I finally understand. Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, Dachuan-chi. Chapter 396. After a pause, under the curious gaze of the three people, Yejuju continued. In general, it's 3 o'clock. The more you hunt high-level monsters in the wild, the higher your punch value, the higher the level of the trial tower, and the higher your ranking in the training camp will be, right? Crack. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. Zhaoruo snapped his fingers, sat down next to Yejuju, put his arm around Yejuju's shoulders and praised him. Not bad, Junior. You have learned how to summarize. Really? After saying that, Zhaoruo let go of the uncomfortable Yejuju and continued without any awareness. Yes. As long as you do these 3 things, you will have a good ranking. Come on, 2 juniors, senior sister is optimistic about you. After talking about business, the 2 of them chose their own rooms under the enthusiastic guidance of Zhaoruo. At the same moment, in the lobby of Li Yao's villa, Li Yao was sitting on the sofa with twice as much red wine in his hand, and Wenina was leaning in front of the table, both of them looking at the densely packed names and avatars on the screen. The portraits and names of Yejuju and Luo Feng were suddenly listed, but they were the only bright names on it. Wenina said. Yao. All the warriors above who entered No 003 that day have been investigated and dealt with. But. After saying that, Wenina stretched out her finger with fierce eyes and pointed at the only normal-colored portraits of Yejuju and Luo Feng on the screen. As for these 2 people, we can't investigate or move them at the moment. Because these 2 people have been lucky enough to enter the elite training camp. Although our family is powerful, it is impossible to enter the training camp and kill people. Stuck. There was a sound of glass breaking, but it was Li Yao who subconsciously exerted force on his hand and crushed the red wine glass in his hand into pieces. He exhaled heavily and said. Wenina, isn't your nephew also in the training camp? Find a way for him to test and investigate the 2 people to see if one is an ice warrior and the other is a psychic. Snort. If so, I will kill them myself. If not. Hee hee. Unlucky for them, they happen to be there on the same day as our son. When Wenina heard this, she also said with a sinister expression. Okay, I'll contact Candace right away. As he spoke, he picked up his cell phone from the table and started dialing. Unknown to Li Yao and his wife, on the first day of entering the camp, they asked their nephew to test them. Yejuju was meditating in his bedroom and practicing the 5 hearts to heaven technique. hx.co. But according to Yejuju's character, even if he knew, he wouldn't care. After all, even if he can't beat Candace temporarily, as long as he spends 1 day in the training camp, he will have a way to quickly improve his strength and be promoted to the God of War as soon as possible. By then, let alone Candace, even if Li Yao came in person, he would be sure to kill him. But before that, it would be best to meet with Hongshang and ask Bingshan for advice on the key points of controlling ice energy, so that he would be more confident in dealing with the conspiracy of Li Yao and his wife. The next day, Yejuju and Luo Feng were practicing sword skills in the martial arts field outside the villa when they saw a woman walking slowly towards them. When he saw someone coming, especially a woman carrying 2 scimitars almost as long as her body crossed behind her back, Yejuju knew that the person coming was Zhang Fang, the instructor who was going to teach them sword skills. However, what is very strange is that Zhang Fang showed up to teach Luo Feng when Luo Feng was about to challenge William. Why did he show up at this time? What he didn't know was that Zhang Fang was able to come because Yang Hui asked Zhang Fang to come. Just because Yejuju showed perfect body skills and strong swordsmanship when he singled out the giant black bear that day, but Luo Feng's swordsmanship was extremely poor. In order not to bury Yejuju's swordsmanship genius, Zhongfang let Zhongfang came to teach the two of them. I have to say that this royal sister's appearance is also amazing. Different from Zhaoruo's lively elf, although Zhongfang's appearance is gorgeous, it has the cool style of a royal sister. Especially her short hair makes her seem like she is not an easy person to approach. Sure enough, when she walked into the martial arts training ground, she introduced, "My name is Zhongfang. From today on, I will guide you in your sword practice." After a pause, Zhongfang continued. "First of all, let's talk about your understanding of the realm of swordsmanship." After speaking, Zhongfang pointed at Luofeng, indicating that Luofeng would speak first. Luofeng was stunned for a moment, looked at Yejuju, and then said, "Swordsmanship, me." Seeing that Luofeng couldn't explain, Zhongfang interrupted Luofeng impatiently, looked at Yejuju and said, "Tell me about it, Yejuju." After being named by Zhongfang, Yejuju stood up without fear and said, "Sword skills are the same as body skills. They are also divided into 4 levels: basic, subtle, perfect, and artistic conception level." After a pause, as if this explanation was not comprehensive enough, he hesitated and continued. "The first 2 realms are easy to understand. As long as you practice hard, you can reach them, but the perfect sword technique relies on the understanding of the sword technique. At this time, the sword in the hands of the warrior is no longer just a weapon, but a real extension of the arm, which can be used at will, just like the butcher ding in ancient times. If you can do this, you have reached the perfect realm. I. Herfot point guard here. I am used to calling this state. Man and sword are one. As for artistic conception, I think, at this time, the swordsmanship can no longer be described as a simple skill, it is close to Tao. The warrior and the sword can be integrated into the environment around them. Before the sword is drawn, everything around, including wind, frost, snow, rain, thunder and lightning, can be mobilized to kill the enemy at the moment of launching. To put it more mysteriously, it means that before the sword is drawn, the enemy will be afraid, and the sword will be accompanied by the power of wind and thunder, which is unmatched by thunder and lightning. The applause of Papa rang out. Not only Luofeng was applauding for Yejuju's explanation, but even Zhongfang was applauding for Yejuju. The look in her eyes when she looked at Yejuju was full of appreciation and gratitude. Yes, gratitude. You must know that at this time, Zhongfang's swordsmanship realm, although she can completely beat Luofeng with her eyes closed in the play, is only perfect, far from the super god level of artistic conception. However, Yejuju's words pointed her in the right direction, allowing her to learn from Yejuju's words and find an opportunity to break through. Therefore, when she looked at Yejuju, she naturally had some gratitude in her eyes. Yejuju pretended not to see Zhongfang's gratitude, and still looked like she was humbly asking for advice, waiting for Zhongfang to continue. Zhongfang did not delay, and took the lead in letting Yejuju fight with her to see how strong Yejuju's understanding of the swordsmanship was. In her opinion, since Yejuju could say so much about his understanding of the swordsmanship, then Yejuju's swordsmanship level must not be much lower than hers. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuanqi. Chapter 397. Yejuju glanced at Zhongfang unexpectedly, but did not give in. After Luofeng walked to the sidelines, Yejuju and Zhongfang each stood on the side. Yejuju held the sword in one hand and bowed slightly, ready to fight at any time. At this time, Yejuju's aura suddenly changed and became fierce, and his whole body seemed to be like an unsheathed sword. Zhongfang did not dare to underestimate the competition with Yejuju. Zhongfang did not dare to neglect, slowly drew out the 2 swords from behind, held one in the front and the other in the back and said, "Take action." Obviously, Zhang Fang regards Yejuju as his real opponent, and does not intend to fight Yejuju with his eyes closed and his sword unsheathed like he did with Luo Feng in the play. With everyone competing with him in such sword skills, Yejuju naturally wouldn't hold back. He pointed his sword diagonally at the ground and rushed towards Zhang Fang at a speed of more than 100 meters per second. At this time, his aura changed again, like a cutting blade, swift and powerful. In the blink of an eye, Yejuju rushed in front of Zhang Fang, and the knife on his side slashed at Zhang Fang's body from bottom to top at a weird angle. The strength of Zhang Fang, an intermediate god of war, is not to be boasted. After all, he is a famous swordsman in the training camp, so naturally he will not be hurt by Yejuju's sword. Just before the sword was about to get closer, Zhang Fang's eyes suddenly lit up. The sword in his left hand was turned upside down and pressed against his arm. With a dang sound, he blocked Yejuju's sword. The sword in his right hand attacked Yejuju in front of him without hesitation. Before Yejuju took action, he knew that the knife would not work, so he only used 3 points of force. At this time, the blade turned around and blocked Zhang Fang's knife. Next, the two of them went back and forth, one with a double sword and the other with a single sword. They were fighting so hard that Luo Feng's eyes became blurred as he watched. At this moment, he realized deeply that compared to the two of them, his sword skills were as good as the sky. Got it too? Turn out to be. When Brother Ye competed with him, he didn't use all his strength at all. No. 1/10 of it will not be used, otherwise. With his own sword skills, he couldn't even catch one of Brother Ye's moves. During the fight, Zhang Fang was even more surprised. Yejuju's sword skills were so powerful that he had reached the perfect level. He was even better than her, an intermediate god of war, in terms of sword skills. 2. When it comes to sword skills, Yejuju, who was obviously given the advanced combat master skill by the system, is much better than Zhang Fang, whose sword skills were gained from actual battles with monsters. If Zhang Fang hadn't been an intermediate god of war and was superior to Yejuju in terms of physical quality and strength, he might have been defeated by Yejuju's sword. Of course, if Zhang Fang fully displays the strength of the intermediate god of war, Yejuju will not be her opponent. The premise is: Yejuju does not use his ultimate skills of Cold Wave and Freezing Ball. Not to mention, Zhang Fang learned many simple and practical sword skills from Yejuju during the battle, which invisibly improved Zhang Fang's sword skills and benefited her a lot. At her fought. On the other hand, Yejuju could not learn anything from Zhang Fang. After all, Yejuju is no better than Zhang Fang, who has experienced hundreds of battles, in terms of actual combat and skills. Neither of them is in the realm of perfect swordsmanship, so what can they learn? Both of them are extremely physically strong, so naturally they cannot become tired after fighting dozens or hundreds of moves. +1. One is highly skilled, and the other relies on the physical advantage of the intermediate god of war. It can be said that the fight lasts for hours without thinking about the outcome. The biggest possibility is that both of them stop at the same time, and no one can do anything to win over the other. The fight between the two not only deeply attracted Luo Feng, but also Zhao Ruo and Shi Zhang, who were practicing in the villa, also walked out of the villa after hearing the fierce fighting and joined the crowd to watch the battle. Although neither of them used knives as weapons, they could learn many practical skills from the battle between Yejuju and Zhang Fang. The battle between Yejuju and Zhang Fang lasted for half an hour. No one could take advantage of the other. In the end, Zhang Fang took the initiative to stop and stepped back and said to Yejuju appreciatively, "I thought I had overestimated you, but I didn't expect that your sword skills are not inferior to mine, a person who has been practicing sword skills for more than 10 years. You are very good, Yejuju. I have nothing to teach you in terms of sword skills. However, I can help you get more resources and quickly improve your strength. From now on, it's up to you what height you can reach. Instructor Zhang is very polite. We can learn from each other and discuss sword skills, and strive to reach that level together, right? In the future, I still hope that Instructor Zhang will take more time to give us guidance. Yes. Instructor Zhang, we are still students and we still need your guidance. Luo Feng listened to the conversation between the two and hurriedly stood up to express his position. He had a beautiful thought. If Zhang Fang agreed to continue teaching them, he would be no better than two swordsmanship teachers. Zhang Fang did not delay in this regard, and admired Yejuju even more in her heart. After all, no teacher would dislike a student who is so humble and knows how to respect his teacher. With this thought in mind, Zhang Fang decided to train Yejuju and the two of them well, and would not hesitate to gain favors from him, otherwise. Why do you have the nerve to come to Yejuju so often to discuss and improve your sword skills? So he said to the two of them. You have just entered the camp, and you haven't ranked on the ranking list yet, and you don't have a place in the gravity training room. So be it. In order not to delay your cultivation, I will allocate my cultivation time in the gravity room to you. I hope you will not disappoint me and become the god of war as soon as possible. That's it. That's it for today. Tomorrow, I will come and take you to the gravity room. After saying that, Zhang Fang turned around and walked out without talking nonsense. In fact, she did this not only to compete with Yejuju, but also to repay the favor of stealing from Yejuju, after all. After listening to Yejuju's understanding of the art of swordsmanship and the battle just now, she benefited a lot. Spending some time practicing in the gravity room was nothing at all. Seeing Zhang Fang walking away, Zhao Ruo stepped forward, put his arm around Yejuju's shoulders and said, Okay. Xiao boy. You've just entered the training camp and you're on par with Instructor Zhang Fang in swordsmanship. I really underestimated you. Haha. Very good. If you have a chance, you should compete with me. I also want to test how strong you are. Yejuju couldn't resist Zhao Ruo, who was so enthusiastic. Feeling the touch of the bullet on his arm, Yejuju kept saying to himself in his heart. She is a senior sister and Shi Jiang's partner. I can't have bad thoughts about her. My ideal partner is a royal sister like Instructor Zhang, and such a enchanting beauty. Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuanqi. Chapter 398. After laughing and joking, Luo Feng asked Yejuju to teach him swordsmanship, and Yejuju readily agreed. Even Shi Jiang and Zhao Ruo, who were not practicing swordsmanship, watched from the side. Yejuju did not hide his knowledge and taught Luo Feng without reservation. As for how much Luo Feng could understand, it was up to him. The next morning, Zhang Fang came to Jiangnan Pavilion and took the two of them directly to the gravity training room in the camp. Entering the gravity training room, Yejuju did not immediately pay attention to the facilities inside, but first looked at the fist mark left by Hong on the wall. Not to mention, seeing this fist mark clearly at a close distance gave Yejuju a much more shocking feeling than seeing it in the bureau. This gravity room was dismantled from an alien spaceship, and its metal material is many times harder than the hardest metal in the world. But even with such hard metal, Hong could leave such a deep fist mark on it, so. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. It is easy to imagine how strong Hong is. But even such a Hong is just at the planetary level in the entire universe, and he dare not even say that he is a strong man. Then, those who are beyond the planetary level are the star level, universe level, domain master level, realm master level, immortal, universe venerable, universe master, universe strongest, true God heart, saint level, and even God king. How strong are they? Thinking of this, Yejuju dared not relax or neglect it at all. There are two positions that bear gravity in this gravity room. Zhang Fang asked the two to stand on them respectively, and said while explaining. I dots it her fut. I still have 2 hours of training time in the gravity room, and I will give you 1 hour each. Don't underestimate this 1 hour, you know. If you can't enter the top 100 of the Black Dragon list, you will only have 1 hour of training time. So, this hour is very precious to you. Without further ado, the gravity here can be turned on at most 3 times. I will only turn on the gravity at 1 time for your first contact. If you can hold on, I will make adjustments next time. Okay, are you ready? I'm ready, I'll turn it on. Ready. Yejuju and Luo Feng answered in unison. Seeing that the two of them bowed slightly and were ready, Zhongfang turned on the gravity switch without hesitation. As soon as the switch was turned on, there was a slight roar of hum, and Yejuju felt as if he was pressed by a ton of weight, and his waist couldn't help but bend slightly. Fortunately, he had already learned the tricks of gravity training from the drama and was prepared to withstand the sudden gravity. He barely withstood the double gravity after a little adaptation. Then, Yejuju did not dare to waste an hour of precious training time, and slowly practiced boxing in the gravity circle. This surprised Zhongfang. She really did not expect that Yejuju, who was undergoing gravity training for the first time, could not only enter the state so quickly, but also use the gravity environment to practice boxing. She was an experienced person, and naturally knew how much it would improve a warrior to practice boxing and swordsmanship in a gravity environment. On the other hand, Luo Feng was not as good as Yejuju, and at this time he could only insist on not kneeling down. This can be seen from the trembling of Luo Feng's legs. However, although Luo Feng did not enter the state as quickly as Yejuju, it can be seen that his perseverance is indeed extraordinary, and he can actually persist. In fact, Luo Feng was also very shocked at this time. He was very impressed and unwilling to accept that Yejuju could withstand double gravity so quickly and practice in such an environment. As a warrior at the same time, he didn't believe that he couldn't compare to Yejuju, and he could do it. Gritting his teeth, Luo Feng gradually adapted to the feeling brought by double gravity, and also learned from Yejuju to practice. Seeing that both of them started practicing, Zhongfang nodded with satisfaction and left the gravity room. Seeing Zhongfang leave, Yejuju said with difficulty, "Luo Feng, you are different from me. With such a good opportunity, you should practice controlling the telekinetic flying knife. It will help you more." Hearing this, Luo Feng looked at Yejuju gratefully. He didn't say anything, but regarded Yejuju as his closest mentor and friend. Next, one of them sat cross-legged on the ground and used mental telekinesis to control the flying knife in the gravity environment. The other had adapted to double gravity and began to practice swordsmanship and body skills. Time passed quickly when practicing, and an hour passed quickly. When the gravity was automatically turned off, when Zhongfang came in, she saw the two people sweating and slumped on the ground. Satisfied. She was really satisfied with these two students. The first time she practiced in a gravity environment, she could actually hold on until the end of time. What else can she say? It can only be said that every successful strong man has worked as hard as ordinary people, or even more. She did not urge the two people. After they recovered, she took them out of the gravity practice room. Although this practice did not increase Yejuju's physical attributes, Yejuju could clearly feel the changes in his body. Punching and swinging the knife attack became smoother, and the power seemed to be a little stronger. I believe that if you practice like this a few more times, your physical attributes will definitely be enhanced. After Yejuju and the others returned to Jiangnan Pavilion, Zhaoruo enthusiastically asked them to wash and change clothes quickly, as they would attend the welcome dinner prepared by the students for them in the evening. When Yejuju heard about the welcome dinner, he couldn't help but feel moved, thinking, "I think Li Yao and Vinana will let her nephew make trouble for them at the banquet in order to test them. Or, when I killed the giant rock black bear, I showed my ice ability, and Li Yao and the others should have known about it. Is it right?" Is Li Yao going to take action? In fact, it is exactly as Yejuju thought. Li Yao has also learned from other warriors that Yejuju is an ice warrior. It has been basically confirmed that Yejuju and Luo Feng are the murderers of his son. The reason why he didn't target the two too much is because they are both in the training camp, so he has no chance even if he wants to take revenge. But Li Yao is not giving it away for nothing. He has asked Vinana to inform Candace to find an opportunity to suppress Yejuju and Luo Feng. It would be best if the two of them were kicked out of the training camp in advance, so that he would have a chance to kill them. At worst, when the two of them went out to hunt monsters, he would let Candace find their destination and then kill them. At dusk, the dinner began. Led by Zhaoruo and Shizhang, the two of them came to the banquet hall of the training camp. The place was already full of trainees from the training camp. Along the way, whether they knew them or not, they all greeted the two of them politely. They were all smart people, while others were recommended by their family forces to enter the training camp. Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuanqi. Chapter 399. But Yejuju was different. Although the two were recommended by the martial arts school, they were confirmed by Yang Hui himself, so the treatment was different. What's more, the two of them still snatched 2 places from among the many family members. Isn't this enough to explain the problem? Making friends with the students, greeting each other, toasting and taking photos, Yejuju and Luo Feng quickly integrated into the students, and the atmosphere was very harmonious. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. While the two were communicating with the students, 2 young men stood by the railing on the 2nd floor, looking at the 2 people below who were at ease. These 2 people are none other than Candace, Vanina's nephew with blonde hair, and the other is Candace's dog like William. William climbed on the railing, looked at Yejuju and Luo Feng below, and asked. Look, these 2 newcomers are really popular. Candace, don't you have any ideas? Ideas? Haha. They're just 2 boys with better luck. After a pause, Candace looked at William and said. Are you ready for what I told you before? Once you find out who among them is a telepathic person and who is an ice warrior, your benefits will be indispensable. Haha. Just watch it. Deal with newcomers. I have plenty of ideas. I'm not afraid that they won't fight me. After saying that, William stood up, picked up a tray of snacks from the table next to him, and walked downstairs. After passing through the crowd, William brought a tray to Yejuju and asked politely. Want to try this dessert? Seeing that the person coming was William, Yejuju knew that William was here to provoke him and didn't want to talk to him at all. Luo Feng didn't know it. After politely thanking William, he picked up a piece of snack and ate it. William smiled shamelessly and continued. I heard that you 2 newcomers are very powerful. I don't believe it. Do you dare to go up to the trial tower with me to compete? Not interested. Without waiting for Luo Feng to answer, Yejuju refused politely. Don't refuse in a hurry. It's normal to compete with each other in the training camp, isn't it? He won't die. Are you afraid? Tisk tisk. He also said that he is a warrior who has experienced in the wild. He is not even afraid of lord-level monsters, but he is afraid of competitions. He. I really feel for your martial arts school that it's not worth it. I don't even dare to go up to the trial tower to compete. Zhaoruo, who discovered that William was talking to Yejuju and knew about William's behavior, hurriedly came over and asked William unceremoniously. William, are you trying to trick newcomers into competing with you again? Don't you feel ashamed? You have just entered the training camp, and you have been in the training camp for several years. Are you sorry? Snored. As long as I'm here, I won't let you get what you want and cheat my fellow villagers out of their money. No, no, no. I didn't say I wanted to gamble this time, I just wanted to compete with them. Shameless. You are already a high-level warrior. You are about to break through the warriors of the god of war, and you still have to compete with newcomers who have just entered the training camp. Don't you feel ashamed? Zhao Ruo cursed unceremoniously, but with her poor vocabulary, to Yejiju's ears, it was better not to curse at all. William ignored Zhao Ruo's scolding, but looked at Yejiju and Luo Feng and asked. What? You don't dare? If you still want to hide behind women and let women stand up for you, are you still considered a man? Hearing this, Luo Feng couldn't bear it anymore and was about to stand up, but Yejiju grabbed him and said to William. Are you a senior warrior? William was confused by the question, but he still nodded. Yejiju continued. Luo Feng and I, one is an intermediate general and the other is a junior general. Are you sure you want to compete with us? Well. Don't you dare. No. It's not that I don't dare, I just don't want to waste my efforts. Don't you want to compete with us? Can. But. Hearing Yejiju's but, William's face lit up with joy and he thought to himself. Candace, my mission is about to be completed. You must fulfill your promise to me. Then I heard Yejiju continue to say. It's okay to discuss, but there must be a stake, otherwise we are not interested. Hearing this, William's eyes suddenly lit up, and he opened his mouth to ask. Oh. What do you want to bet on? We don't have points now, but we do have money. The two of us have a total of 10 billion in cash. Are you willing to accept this bet? After saying that, for fear that William would not agree, he added. Don't worry, we only have one fight. If we lose, we will give you 10 billion. If you lose, can you give us 10 billion? Do you dare? Hearing this, William's face turned ugly. He had 5 billion, which he originally planned to use as gambling capital, but 10 billion. But it's a little worse. He is not afraid of losing, but if he is asked to take out 10 billion as a bet now, he can't come up with it no matter what. For a moment, William stood there awkwardly. Yejiju noticed William's embarrassment and was about to taunt him with a few words when he heard an indifferent voice coming from the second floor. Okay, I'll pay these 10 billion for William. As long as any one of you can defeat William, I will give you 10 billion immediately. Yejiju looked up when he heard the sound, and saw Candace's somewhat cold eyes. This look was very cold. If it were an ordinary person, he would really be frightened by him. But who is Yejiju? How could a person who has experienced several worlds be afraid of just one look? With a smile on his lips, Yejiju nodded and said. Okay. Since someone has come forward, I will take over this betting battle. As soon as the sound fell, all the students watching around were in an uproar, and discussions also started. Wow! This newcomer is too crazy. Although William is a bit annoying, his mother's strength is undoubtedly there. Can this newcomer named Yejiju beat William? Herfot I. Bat. Who says it's not? William's strength is on the top 100 list. How could that newcomer be able to beat him? He's just overestimating his abilities. That's not necessarily true. Maybe these two newcomers have some unique skills. Don't forget, they are students who were recruited by instructor Yang himself. Finally hearing someone speak for him, Yejiju felt much better. He glanced at Candace jokingly, then looked at William and asked. How's it going? Someone paid for you. Do you want to fight? You. William was so angry at Yejiju's words that he couldn't speak. He raised his head and glanced at Candace. Seeing Candace nodding incomprehensibly, he said. Okay, let's go to the trial tower and have a one-on-one battle to see what qualifications you have to be so crazy. Huh. After saying that, William snorted heavily, turned around and walked towards the trial tower first. Yejiju smiled and followed him. Luo Feng hurriedly caught up behind him and said. Brother Ye, Let me fight him. No, just have me deal with people like this, and you can just accept the money with peace of mind. After speaking, Yejuju quickly followed William. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, Dachuan. Chapter 400. Behind, a large group of students saw the excitement and rushed out. They all wanted to see whether in the battle between Yejuju and William, the new student would defeat the old student, or William would crush the new student. Seeing that his goal was achieved, Candace fell behind everyone, picked up the phone and dialed and said, "And, it's done. Then we can see who of the two has the ice ability and who has the mental power." Remember the domain name of this website, Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. Well, I know that I will never forget my cousin's revenge. Once confirmed, I will find a way to find out their subsequent whereabouts. Good. I see. I will use the transmission glasses later to convey the situation of their battle to you. After saying that, she hung up the phone. Candace curled her lips disdainfully and whispered, "Humph. Li Wei's arrogant and domineering temperament will die in the hands of outsiders, sooner or later, if not in the hands of the two newcomers." After muttering to herself, Candace walked towards the trial tower. In the trial tower, Yejuju and William had already boarded the machine respectively. William was serious at this time and did not provoke Yejuju. He lay down on the chair and turned on the switch. Yejuju didn't waste any time, also walked to the chair and turned on the simulator's switch. The next moment, the virtual figures of the two people appeared in a space filled with weapons. Just like in the play, William asked Yejuju to choose the map and weapon for the competition. Yejuju chose the sword at will. As for the competition location, he was too lazy to choose. Just like Luo Feng, he chose the gymnasium. Seeing Yejuju choose the gymnasium, not only William smiled disdainfully, but even the students watching the game started talking about it. Some people say that Yejuju does not know whether to live or die, and some people say that Yejuju breaks the jar. In any case, they are not optimistic about Yejuju. William chose a samurai sword from the weapons, looked at Yejuju and said with a sneer, "Haha. I asked you to choose the venue. I didn't want to take advantage of you, but I didn't expect you to be so anxious and want to die. Ha. That's fine. Then I will make it happen for you. Rest assured. I won't kill you with one blow. I will slowly torture you with one knife after another, and let you know that this place in the training camp is more dangerous than the wild places where monsters are infested outside." Snort. Without further ado, let's get started now. After saying that, William held the handle of the knife with one hand and said to Zhineo, "It's time to begin." The sound fell, and the system prompt sounded in Yejuju's head. "Congratulations to the host for triggering the temporary task. Defeating William will reward you with 5,000 experience points." What? Only 5,000? Isn't this William too cheap? Not even as good as a high-level beast general. Yejuju couldn't help but vomit when he heard the system prompt. Immediately, the scene in front of them changed, and the two figures appeared in an unobstructed environment. At this moment, William had already taken the lead in attacking Yejuju. Facing William's attack, Yejuju didn't panic at all. With one swing of his sword, he slashed at William with sword energy. William, who was charging forward, was so surprised that he hurriedly dodged to avoid it. There was no way, even though he was a high-level warrior, he still couldn't inspire his sword energy. That was the ability only the god of war had. But Yejuju was able to do it. Not only that, William felt an extremely cold aura before the sword energy came, which shocked him inexplicably. Ice warrior. William thought in shock. But but he was happy because his mission was finally completed. According to Candace, one of the warriors who killed his cousin was an ice warrior. This leaf Jeju had such strong strength and was an ice warrior, so it must have been Yejeju and Luo Feng who jointly killed Li Wei. As for how Yejeju and Luo Feng killed a junior war god, he ignored it, otherwise. At this time, he should consider whether to surrender or not. Thinking about it, you know that even the god of war died in the hands of Yejeju. How could he, a warrior who was not the god of war, be Yejeju's opponent? Even though Li Zhan is not the top fighter in the Bolanas family, he can still crush William. The reason why Yejeju wanted to reveal his ice ability was naturally because he had already revealed his ice ability when he rescued the Bai He team. With Li Yao's methods, it is not difficult to find out. Now that he knew everything, Yejeju had nothing to worry about. First, he is in the training camp. No matter how long Li Yao's hands are, he cannot reach into the training camp, so he is safe. Secondly, even if Li Yao is a high-level god of war, he has to wait until he goes to the wild for a trial before killing him. By then, Yejeju's strength will definitely reach the god of war level, and it's not certain who will kill whom. After all, who said there was such a dark technology as a gravity chamber in the training camp? He had a hunch that as long as he practiced more in the gravity room, he would be able to break through to the strength of a senior warrior or even a junior war god in a short period of time. Putting aside these things, after Yejeju forced William back with the sword energy, his forward speed did not slow down at all. In the blink of an eye, he rushed in front of William, raised his hand and slashed out with the sword, targeting William's right hand holding the sword. Herfot I. Citronenat. After seeing Yejeju's ice sword energy, not only Candace was shocked, but also Li Yao and Wenina, who saw the scene through the screen, stood up in shock. Vanina screamed "Ah!" and shouted, "Ah! Yao, it's him, he's the one who killed my Will. You must kill him, and avenge our son." Li Yao also had bloodshot eyes, stared at Yejeju's figure on the screen, and said fiercely, "Don't worry, I won't make it easy for him. I have to catch him with my own hands, cut his flesh one by one, and make him suffer the pain of being cut into pieces, in order to eliminate the hatred in my heart." Snort. "Kill my son and I will find him no matter where he hides. Tell Candace to keep an eye on these two guys as long as they leave the training camp." Snort. Li Yao didn't say the rest clearly, but Wenina instantly understood what he meant, picked up the phone and dialed. In the trial tower, Candace looked at Yejeju with slightly complicated eyes, sighing in her heart for Yejeju's good luck. Yes. Candace was jealous. Although he is already a warrior of the god of war, he has not been able to activate his attribute power and is still a pure warrior. A warrior with attribute power like Yejeju is a truly rare talent. If he hadn't killed Li Zhan, No. Even if he kills Li Zhan, if he doesn't kill Li Wei, he can help him smooth all of this. As long as he joins his army, he will be the leader of the family. But it's a pity. Why? Just as he was regretting it, the phone rang. Candace knew it was his aunt's call without looking, so he walked to the side and answered the call. "Yes, I already know that he is the murderer of my cousin." "Well, I'll keep an eye on him." "Yes." Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuanchi. Chapter 401. If he kills someone from our Bolanas family, of course I won't let him go. Don't worry, Aunt, I will also find an opportunity to teach these two boys a lesson and collect some interest first. After hanging up the phone, Candace couldn't help but look at Yejeju, who was completely torturing William. Yes. Searched Can on Google. At this time, Yejeju was completely unilaterally abusing William. Even though William is a high-level warrior, his fighting ability is still not good enough in front of Yejeju. Even though his explosive power is stronger than the current Yejeju, with the addition of Yejeju's 4-layer 9-layer ice blade explosion, he is a little behind. You know, Yejuju's strength attribute is already 100 points, and he has 20,000 kilograms of strength even without using the 9-layer ice blade. Coupled with the explosion of the 9-layer ice blade, with a triple bonus, the strength can reach 60,000 kilograms, which is already the strength of a junior god of war. Herfad I bait. How could William block Yejuju's attack? 3 swords. Yes, it's just 3 swords. William only blocked Yejuju's 3 strikes, but the knife in his hand was shaken by Yejuju's strike and flew out. The knife flew away from his hand, and the hand holding the knife was numb from the shock. William was immediately horrified and was about to admit defeat. But Yejuju's movements were too fast. He would open his mouth when he saw William, and he knew he was going to admit defeat just by looking at the shape of his mouth. How could Yejuju give him a chance? The knife in his right hand was turned upside down, and the handle of the knife hit his chin, causing him to swallow the words "I surrender" that he was about to say. Then, Yejuju dismembered William unceremoniously, first cutting off one of his arms with one knife, and then cutting off his other arm with one knife when William screamed in pain. Then, the sword was waving on William's chest and back like a windmill. The speed was so fast that even William, a senior general, could not dodge at all. And as long as William wanted to speak, no matter what he wanted to say, Yejuju would not give him a chance to speak. He would shut up with either his fist or the hilt of his knife. And what Yejuju did was to make William feel scared and make others feel scared as well. Yes. Yejuju wants to use this gambling battle to establish his authority, so that all those who think he is a newcomer and want to bully him will know how ruthless Yejuju is. Let Kanda see it and let him know that he, Yejuju, is not so easy to mess with. He wanted to help Vanina vent her anger and suppress herself. We also want to see if Candace can offend Yejuju and whether he can be slapped in the face by him in front of the public. Needless to say, what he did really shocked Candace. That's right, it was just a shock. Candace herself knows what she's capable of. If he wants to torture and kill William, he can also do it. Don't forget, his sword skills are also perfect. Just like Yejuju, he can stop William from talking, cut off his arms, and slash William's body. He can do it, or even do it more ruthlessly. He was shocked that Yejuju, who was no more than an intermediate warrior, could actually unleash the power of a junior war god, with such ruthless methods. Just because William came out to provoke him, he was so cruel, it was true. How cruel? Will it? What does Yejuju already know? Unable to help thinking of this, Candace took a deep look at the cold Yejuju on the screen, lowered his head and pondered. He is very smart. Otherwise, why would he be the only candidate of this generation of the Bolanaz family to enter the training camp? Thinking that he stood up for William, Yejuju must also. Knowing that he is a member of the Bolanaz family. So. He must know that Li Yao and his aunt are looking for the murderer. And he was already sure that Yejuju and Luo Feng were the murderers of his stupid cousin. In this case, Yejuju must have guessed that the Bolinas family would not let him go just like this. Even in training camp, there will be opportunities to kill him. Then, it makes perfect sense to be so cruel to William. He did it for everyone in the training camp to see, as well as for himself and his aunt's family behind him. The meaning is also very clear. That is, if you want to take action against Yejuju, you must think about whether you can capture Yejuju and whether you can withstand Yejuju's revenge. Because Yejuju is a cruel person. Thinking of this, Candace not only gave Yejuju a higher look. Yes. Just look high. At this time, he no longer regarded Yejuju as an ordinary warrior. Couldn't such a future god of war with such strength, scheming, and means still occupy a place in the future god of war palace? As long as he becomes a member of Ares' palace, can Li Yao and his aunt kill him casually? Pity. Candace should originally win over such a person and become his friend, but it's a pity. Forget it, don't think about it anymore. Candace doesn't think about this anymore. Since he and his aunt's family were destined not to reconcile, he would not win over Yejuju. Of course, he still had to do what he had to do, just like monitoring Yejuju's whereabouts. But he would not attack Yejuju easily. In this way, even if Li Yao could not kill him, he and Yejuju would not become enemies, right? He didn't notice that, in his subconscious, he didn't think highly of Li Yao. He didn't believe that Li Yao could kill Yejuju, and even considered not being an enemy of Yejuju. It can be seen how accurate Candace's intuition was, and it even saved his life. You know, Yejuju is not Luo Feng, and dead enemies are more reliable when dealing with enemies. In the trial tower, the battle is over. After 3 minutes of complete abuse, William has not died, but he just collapsed on the ground and didn't move. If it weren't for his chest still rising and falling slightly, indicating that he was still alive, I believe everyone would have thought he was dead. William, who was lying on the ground, was mentally broken at this time. Logically speaking, he is a senior warrior and should not be so fragile. But just because he is a senior warrior, if his vitals are not severely damaged, how can he die so easily? And being abused by Yejuju for several minutes, how could he, a senior warrior in the elite training camp, endure it? For him, this was not only a shame, but also an indelible fear of Yejuju from the depths of his soul. Because even if he died in the wild fighting a monster, it would only take a dozen seconds, and he would not suffer so much torture after death. And Yejuju's purpose was not to kill William, but to torture him mentally and physically, so that he would hide away from him in the future to avoid trouble. Yes, Yejuju's plan was accomplished. William was really afraid of Yejuju. He regretted at this time why he coveted Candace's benefits and took the lead to trouble Yejuju, causing himself to suffer such torture for nothing.